Scattered across the villages of Central America, a race of prophets has existed for over 2,000 years. Their predictions seem to have been strangely accurate. They have seen our generation of mankind hurtling to what may be catastrophe. Reportedly, their calendar marks the precise day of our destruction. The end of time is near, says the ancient wisdom of the Mayans. Anthropologist Barbara Tedlock.
On December 21st, which is the winter solstice in the year 2012, the Maya have prophesied in their books that go back to the 1st century BC that there will be a change, a very large change. We will enter the 5th age.
The 5th age may mark the end of history. It's the final cycle of a pattern the Mayans believe is repeated throughout the eons and terminates in the year 2012. Anthropologist Dennis Tedlock.
What happens in each of the Maya creations and destructions of the world is that lots of the beings that belong to the previous world survive. They go on living, and they serve as a sign to the next people who come along of what happened to those who forgot the calendar.
The Mayan calendar is rooted in historical events. As each cycle of time repeats, happenings of the past serve as omens of the future. Author Scott Peterson.
Calendar priests would record the important events of their time on long books made of papyrus. That was the way that they could then predict what would happen, let's say 400 years in the future. They would look at what happened 400 years in the past and use that as a guide to the future.
The Mayans practiced an ancient form of astrology, using birth dates to guide their entire lives.
If you were born on a certain day, that would be your fate. If you were born on a day that said you were a doctor, then you were a doctor. If you were born on a day that said you were a thief, then you were a thief.
Mayan prophecy has foreseen not only the fates of individuals, but great events of mankind. Their sacred writings may have warned of a conquering army that would invade from a far-off land. Professor of Anthropology David Friedel.
There were events going on at the time the Spanish were first exploring Mexico that would lead one to believe that, in fact, prophecy was being realized. The predictions and prophecies in the Chilambalam speak of the end of the Maya time and the beginning of the time of the foreigners.
Those foreigners committed the great sin that eventually destroyed each cycle of Mayan history, the sin of arrogance.
The Mayans believed everything is sacred. When you don't recognize that everything is holy and everything is sacred, then you lose track of your own place in the scheme of things. When nature and human beings go out of balance, ultimately nature will right the balance. It's the planet itself which is more powerful than the people.
In each Mayan apocalypse, man is punished for the harm he's inflicted on Mother Earth. In making tools and artifacts, the heat and hammering caused pain to the iron and clay, pain that had to be avenged. This holds true for a mythological race ruled the earth long ago.
They looked on the surface very much like ourselves. They grew crops, they had domestic animals. But their heads were really quite empty. They did not remember to say prayers and make offerings. They did not respect the earth.
According to legend, the Mayan prophecy of doom was fulfilled. Mother Earth and her children sought revenge. Tools turned on their creators, and this world erupted in destruction.
Everything the people had made, all of human technology, and that included their domestic animals, rose up against them. Their dogs now talked to them. Their turkeys now talked to them and lectured them about what they'd been failing to do.
The wind roared with fury. There was no escape.
And the earth rose up against them, and their houses caved in on them.
Mayans believe that our fate is sealed. The next cycle will end in the year 2012, and then we too will suffer for mistreating nature. But instead of facing primitive tools, our enemy will be technology. After the final moments of calm, our peaceful world may end.
If you've ever worried about all those things you've got plugged in your house, all those things that are on the power grid that plugs into everything, that food processor in your kitchen, your answering machine and your fax and your VCR, your television, your clock radio. Imagine all of them getting a mind of their own and deciding they don't like you. So the time then to worry about all of these things happening is December 21st, the winter solstice in 2012, according to the Maya prophecies that were written in the 1st century BC. Cats and dogs and caged birds, all of these would come after us. All of them would start talking to us. All of them would turn to attack us. In the previous disaster, it was just tortilla griddles, stone griddles on a fire. Now it could be your waffle iron flying in your face. You're putting stuff into your food processor, and the first thing you know, it's processing you. Your fax machine, you're feeding stuff into it, and the next thing you know, your tie is caught in it. Those are the kinds of things that could happen when everything we have made gets a mind of its own.
Some consider the ancient Mayan calendar the most accurate ever devised. And unlike ours, which concentrates on holidays and phases of the moon from here to eternity, the Mayan calendar has a final date, December the 21st in the year 2012. A day that just might be the last day of our world.